What the heck? No freaking way. Alright, guys, I'm so sorry. Okay, this is going to be a kind of rant, kind of vent, kind of just me talking through what's bothering me, what's on my mind. Before people comment on this video, this is just me venting mainly. So, today's Tuesday, September 10th. Yesterday, Monday, I got to work 9 a.m. and found out that my permanent morning client is going to school and that I no longer have a morning client, permanent morning client, which means my hours were cut essentially. Like the 20 hours a week my morning client provided me, I don't have anymore until I get a new permanent morning, which means I only get to work in the mornings if someone calls out or cancels their morning client, or I can come in at 11 to cover breaks. So yesterday they told me come back at 1, which meant I only had an afternoon client. Afternoon clients, you only get maybe 3.5 to 4 hours. So my income at my job pretty much just got cut in half yesterday. And I had a breakdown over that. Slight breakdown, not like a full. Let me get my stuff because I'm trying to eat my dinner. Actually, I'm going to warm it up a little bit longer. Okay. So sorry. So, basically I found out the stability I thought I was going to have at my job, I no longer have, immediately after getting back from my trip, my girls' trip to Charleston. So, that was yesterday's problem, right? And you know what? I immediately just said, you know what? Let me start applying. I said, let me just go ahead and start applying for some other jobs. Like, I will get another part-time job to work at night. And I also just said, you know what? Let's just apply as well for some guaranteed full-time 40-hour positions, because at this point, I am recognizing basically the field that I'm working in, it's really easy to find a job as an RBT. Like, it's very easy for me to find a job as an RBT. The problem is there's a lack of stability when it comes to the hours you get at a lot of jobs. So many of my friends who are RBTs have left their jobs and gone to other places, not because they didn't like working, but because their hours at their job was not stable. Not so good. Sorry, y'all. I'm eating my leftover nose from yesterday. I know y'all can't really see the food I'm eating because when I film on my iPad, it's always at an angle. So anyways, I get that information, find that information out yesterday, and I'm freaking out because I'm like, dang, I'm about to get my kombucha. I have this mixed berry kombucha. So I was already on the fence about my job or my hours. I was already kind of worried about it because I was like, they say it's 30, but a bunch of kids just left. A lot of people at my job are not getting hours. A bunch of people are starting to leave for that reason. Like, they're not getting enough hours. And that's literally why I just left my last job. I came to this place because they told me I'd be guaranteed 30. But right now, there's people who've been there for years who are barely getting 20 hours, barely getting 25 hours. And basically, it's just hard. It just seems like every place I've been, it's been a struggle for people to get the hours that they want. And places that offer a full-time 40-hour workload seem to be non-existent. So I was like, okay, let me just get me another part-time job at night. I applied at Burlington. I applied at Home Goods. I was like, you know what? I'll just get a second job. But here's the other thing, and this is why. So someone had commented on my video like, oh, you have it easy because you don't have to pay rent. Let me just tell you something. I live with my dad because I cannot afford to pay rent anywhere else. Like, I would love to have my own place and not have to live with my dad, but my finances have not allowed that. I was struggling, barely making $600 a month at my last position, have been trying to get back on my feet, caught up at this new job, and now it's like my income is going to be fluctuating again. And I really don't feel comfortable moving out somewhere and not having a stable income, stable finances, because it's really hard to budget over unstable hours and not having consistent pay. And I want to be able to follow a budget. So anyways, and on top of that, my dad does not want me living with him. My dad has been pretty much on my butt, not like literally, but he's been wanting me moved out since last year, basically. So me being here, I feel like a burden and an inconvenience to my dad, and I know it's limited because my dad doesn't want me here. He wants to rent his house out so he can make basically just have another stream of income. And that brings me to today, where my dad scared the crap out of me because he just popped up. I was taking a nap and I heard like a loud rumble, which was his motorcycle. And I guess he came to pick up his mail and his medication. But basically he's like, well, I need you out. I need you to be moved out by the end of October because I need to start getting the repairs done on the house. So I asked him, oh, like, so me having roommates here is not an option anymore? And he's like, no. So yeah, that's the situation I'm in. It's not like it's a very stable living situation. Like, I guess I've gotten very comfortable here, and that's maybe one of the issues. I'm not really that comfortable because at any point, like, my dad I know my dad wants me to be moved out. And he was even like, oh, can you stay with your grandma? Oh, can you stay with your mom? So I'm pretty much just a burden to him at this point. He doesn't actually want me here, y'all. And it's not like I'm just kicking my feet up, relaxing. And that's why I feel like I do feel so stressed about finances, because I don't have enough saved to move out. I'm trying to have 5,000 saved by the end of this year, right? I've been saying that. It's September. We have October. I have 3 more months left to make that happen. My hours just got cut at my job. I'm like, my dad's putting pressure on me to be out by October now. It's just not a good feeling. Or it's not like a great position to be in. And I honestly think, like, I don't want to have to, depend on my dad for anything, honestly, because I also know, like, I don't want to say my dad's not the most dependable of people, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm not going to get into too many details, but, like, if I really was in a pickle, I would not call my dad. I would call my mom before I called my dad. I would probably call my dad as more of a last resort. And that just is how it is. Basically, though, stuff is hitting the fan. It's hitting the fan right now. But I'm trying to not let it get the best of me. I'm just gonna trust everything happens for a reason. I might be getting a job as a flight attendant. I don't know how soon. But if I do end up getting that job, I wouldn't be able to live here anyways. So I'm going to do that interview soon. I just interviewed at Burlington and did a bunch of other things, but I'm really just, at this point, I just have to let go of the things that I thought I was going to have, because it's not guaranteed. Like, nothing that I really want am I guaranteed to have right now. I do have lots of options too, so I'm not gonna freak myself out. But the main thing for sure we have to do, at least for the next 3-4 months, is just save up as much money as I possibly can, so I can make sure I have $5,000 saved by the end of this year. Because I don't think I would be comfortable moving anywhere without at least $5,000 in my savings. And we're not even close to that right now. So whatever happens after this, I'm just gonna trust and believe that everything happens for a reason. I will be fine at the end of the day. Like, this isn't the first time. And I also think too, like, my dad does make a lot of empty threats, because he'll say stuff, but he doesn't even like his actions don't match his words. Like when he told me, like he's like I said, the fact that he's been telling me to move out for a year, told me he would be moved out by February, and all this stuff. And granted, like he saw and witnessed a lot of the crap I dealt with at my job, which is why he stopped putting some pressure on me. I thought my current job situation was going to be more stable, but now I'm not so sure. Which is, did I even finish talking about that? So basically, what I've noticed is that the hours are not stable. Most ABA places don't offer you a full time schedule of 40 hours. So even though I make more an hour, I get less hours a week. So I'm not actually making more money than I was if I was working full time somewhere. Um, and so that's been a big challenge for me, as like, I don't know. And I truly do enjoy, like, I love working with the kids I work with at my job, and that's one of the few things that I'm like, the thing is, I like actually enjoy my job, but I can't financially support myself off of, I don't feel like I can support myself financially because you have such limited hours. So, my other options is my friend does have a place in Atlanta, a house in Atlanta, and she said she'd be willing to rent a room to me, but it would be kind of expensive. It'd be $900, which I would maybe be able to afford if I had a full-time job in Atlanta, because jobs in Atlanta do pay better. But I don't know. I don't know what path right now is I'm going to end up on at this point. So I feel kind of unsteady again, but I know like everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to. And I'm just going to trust that, everything's going to work out how it's meant to be. So that was my. Honestly, I don't feel like I really vented. Truthfully, though, I vented, but off camera, which I think is good. Like, usually when I'm like crying and having mental breakdowns, I'm always like filming it, but nah, I'm not gonna do that anymore. So we'll be fine. But again, I don't know. The end of October is literally a month and a half, and I only have what, 3 or 4 paychecks until then. With my hours having just been cut at my job, that does not feel like a great situation to be in. So really, unless I get another job by the end of this month, plus figure out, like, I don't know. I don't see it being possible by October. The earliest I could see it is maybe the end of November. But honestly, I would tell my dad I need at least until the end of the year to save. I want to have $5,000 saved before I move anywhere, and my goal is to have that by the end of this year. So if you want to put a bunch of pressure on me, like, okay, but I'm going to tell him, like, I need until the end of the year, depending on what happens with my job. And I really don't want to, like, have to quit or start looking for another job, y'all. But one thing I will say, I did learn from my last job, and this is just me being honest. Don't stay somewhere that is not, that one doesn't value you, that one is not serving you. And this is what I mean. Like, I felt like I had to stay at that job because I had told myself, like, yo, the next job you get, you have to be there for a year. You have to be there for a year. But it wasn't providing or offering anything I wanted. I wasn't full time. I didn't have benefits. I wasn't even making close to what I wanted to be making. So I stayed in a crappy situation for 6 months, hoping it would get better, and it never did. I think it's more like it just taught me like don't stay somewhere where don't stay somewhere that is not what you wanted, right? Like you shouldn't tolerate something that is less than what you want. And I feel like I kept compromising things I wanted because I felt like I had to stay at a job for a certain amount of time. But now I've kind of learned, there's two sides of it, obviously. Like, I don't want to be someone who's constantly quitting and leaving the jobs. Like, if a job I feel like is actually decent, like stable and all of those things, like, you know, I honestly feel like with every job you have, it's like a the purpose of having a job, right, is so that you can pay your bills, right? Like you need to be able to pay your bills, pay rent, pay all of whatever. But also, it's something to do. Like your job is supposed to be you, in a sense, giving back or being a part of society, being a contributing quote unquote member. Someone commented that on my video. Like, you're not a contributing member of society. I was like, I work a job. I'm just still broke. I wasn't getting enough hours. I wanted to be working full time. Anyways, that's another argument or another story. But basically, I think it's really hard because it really does seem like a lot of people are struggling. And I know, like, one of the reasons my dad is so focused on forcing me to move out is because he just wants the extra income, because he took a pay cut moving to his new house, and his new job basically doesn't pay him as much as he was making here. So he's trying to supplement that income by renting out his house. But the only problem is me being here basically is inconvenient to what he wants to get out of the house. So basically it's just like I know my dad, I'm pretty much stopping my dad from making money is how he sees the situation. And for me, I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I'm not trying to stop you from making this income, but I would like to actually be able, like, I would actually like to have, be a little bit more prepared in my finances and have a stable paying job before I move out somewhere, if possible, so I don't end up homeless and on the street, which I hope and pray doesn't happen. So yeah, my living situation is not stable at all. Like, in the sense that I know I have a place to stay for like a year. Like, my dad's been literally putting pressure on me to move out since last year. And yeah. I guess that's all I have to say. We'll see how things work out. But I hope and pray everything works out. Everything is going to work out. It always does. No matter how stressed I might be, about a situation, it always ends up working out. But I definitely have to get my finances in order and cannot be shopping or doing any frivolous spending. So I spent $0 today. I went to work, didn't eat, went home, took a nap, ate my leftovers, went to the gym, came back, and that cost me $0 today. So I'm definitely trying to just get it together. All right, y'all. That's all I got. Peace.